Podcast for the common folk. Podcast for the common folk.
Excuse me, being a little bit overexcited. It has been a while, okay? It has been truly a while. And, we need to get some shit in the gear. Halloween came and went, Election Day came and went, we're all still alive, huh? Imagine that. It's almost like if the sun doesn't give a shit about the worldly problems, it just keeps doing its sun shit. He is on his sun hustle, and that is about all we can ask for him. And we will just keep on chucking along, because what the hell else are we going to do? Because damn straight. There you go. There's your pep talk for the day. Anyways, he passed a while back. A couple of, it was last week, whatnot. Billy Joe Shavor, and I would like to dedicate some of this podcast to him. Billy Joe Shavor is one of the legendary songwriters and artists from the outlaw country era. From, Texas back to Nashville, back to Texas back to Memphis, back to Texas. He did a lot of those. A lot of those guys, they, start from their backwoods boondocks, make it to Tennessee, realize that all the shit that they get kicked in, and then they come back on out, and then they're Gucci. So there's a lot of horror stories and stuff trading about, how like the improper treatment, like you're seeing people like suing record labels and all these kind of stuff, signing deals, re-signing deals, trying to get out, and all you hear about is songs about people that I'm doing this all by myself because fuck the record label, because it truly is. It turns into something, disgusting out there and stuff. So, but I figure I wanted to dedicate something to one guy that was able to spit into the face of those people and get his shit going. Now, this guy connected with like Waylon Jennings, okay, Chris Christopherson. These are the OGs country, but Hank Jr., the OGs of outlaw country. So I wanted to dedicate a little bit. Plus, there's a funny story about him shooting a guy that tried to mug him, which I think is pretty awesome. Yeah. He lost 2 fingers in a sawmill accident. That's a nice intro right there. 2 fingers in a sawmill accident. That how he just, I'm going to start playing music now. That was God sending me my sign. That's about how it goes. Writing songs for all those kind of people. His big hit came off his album called, what is it? I think it's Wanted. And it's got Hank Coulter. It's got Waylon Jennings in it, of course. I think it might have Billy. I know Billy Joe had written a couple songs in it, so it's a very defined one, and it's one of my favorite songs too. It's a song called "Honky Tonk Heroes," and it's just very nice, smooth, very chill, but also got this nice, just dark. I don't know what to say. It's kind of like badass, but it's more laid back badass. Kind of just like roll with the fucking flow vibes. You know what I'm saying? And he wrote that song. It is a good song. I highly recommend it. I'm working on it for the guitar at the moment. Highly recommend it. That song is baller. So, and yeah, it's a bit. That's honestly, that album defined a lot of outlaw country, because you had these guys living it and talking about their own stuff, but this, kind of is like, hey, we're labeling ourselves, and that happens a lot today in this world. So if you got a lot of these guys, you got a lot of the good, you got the country rappers, okay, you got you got dirt rock. You got, you kind of just finding a way to pick on it, because everybody's just gonna start putting on their own shit, and you start calling it what it is. But it's this is country rap. This is, rock. Once you finally just, kind of full accept into it. And, you may have, and you may just need to, like, release an album, just, launching it together. Demon Jones, good fucking artist. He's signed on with Raw. He's a Raw Records owner. And he signed on with Long Cut. And Long Cut, I have had an interview already, if you haven't paid attention to earlier, the Long Cut Experience Part 1. I need to get both of them on there. But we had JT from Long Cut, and he was, when we were talking about that, and it's its own thing. Like, it's really starting to become its own shit. It's different than what LA produces. It's different than what you see a lot in Nashville. It's its own vibe, and once you start conquering your own vibe, these like different versions of like Americana type stuff. It gets interesting, and once you get people fully owned into it, it becomes badass. One of the things I've been listening to a lot is this world music, but it's world just because it's not really set for a single country. But a lot of these Norse Viking, Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out. Vikings shows popular. Vikings in general starting to make it like a fancy comeback now with the beards. So it's just one of those things, and so I started listening to some of these bands like Scald. Shit. There's Wardruna, I think. They've got, you start listening and they own up to the vibe. It's no longer, they go full into it, because once you can immerse yourself into that environment, that bubble, you can produce the best shit from that. You know what I mean? You need full immersion into that. And that's one of the things, like I talk about, like with Monk and stuff, they immerse themselves into the being different. It's rock and roll, it's country, it's rap, it could have the blues, it could have the good uptown party songs, it could got the hustle life explanation songs, it's got the feel and it's got the emotion in with it. Same, Demon Jones, Adam Calhoun, Ryan Upchurch, Jelly Roll, Big Smo, Georgia Boy. There's a lot of them out there. A lot, they finally, you start fulling in and you go in with everything. And so that defines them. Okay, and Billy Joe was helped part of that movement, and that's what this album wanted. And it defined it. It defined the Highwaymen, which had, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson. It defined with, all that. It defined stuff with Johnny Paycheck. It defined stuff with David Allan Coe, George Jones, Ernest Tubb. Well, Ernest Tubb, Hank Sr. a little bit before, but Hank Jr., of course, So Steve Earle. It's one of those ones where, an album finally comes and, like, lets loose. And kind of like, ties the genre together and like, signifies it. Hits can be made. Now, it's weird because, they do a lot of that. And, Hank Jr. dropped a couple of good outlaw songs and stuff, their outlaw albums on his own. And, they just, that shit hit platinum. Kid Rock Kid Rock is solely Kid Rock. It's like, it's just its own shit, But you get these albums that like just define stuff. You got Led Zeppelin, you got, and so that's basically what this equivalent album was. So to be a songwriter, because know that a lot of song people don't really write their own songs. They usually take already written ones and reproduce them in their own image in a sense. But so to be an actual songwriter on your own is another big feat. That would be, and that's something that's stuff. And you can have stories where Billy Joe wrote songs that even Waylon's just like, I couldn't write like that, And that's one of those ones. Of course, it's all give and take. Everybody's adding. Everybody's putting into the pot. Okay, we're all trying to make something good here. Everybody's trying to catch on to that vibe. You got a lot of people that don't write their own stuff, and it's not as bad. It's hard stuff to do. I mean, shit. How good were you telling your own fantasy stories when you were in elementary school? If you were good, then you might be able to write your own music. But if you can't come up with stuff off the cuff like that and think about the big picture, the rhythm, you have to think about the vision in your head. Causes a lot of focus, a lot of intense thinking, and all that kind of stuff. But they do what they got to do. And these guys started pushing up. He moved back to Nashville, or moved from Nashville back down to Texas. He in Texas, and he comes on down. He moved back from Nashville, Texas, and he talked about a lot. And there's a quote in here that he talked about going. Nashville's pretty much like it's like they're treating these guys extremely unfair. It's this horrible type of shit. They do prey upon it. They're going to take advantage of you the minute that they see an opportunity to. So, and he put this one. He's like, you find out that like they're going to use you till you can't write your hits anymore, or your little thing of fame is done, and then they're going to chuck you to the side like you empty banana peel or some shit. Talking about how they know to. Let's see here. Skinny dogs run faster than a fat dog. And they want a fast running dog. And they're not going to give you the good stuff. They're going to give you just enough to keep you going, to keep you desperate. Because a lot of those hard times are where you produce some of your best self. Now, I also firmly believe that there's a lot of good times when you're in the relaxed stuff where you can vibe and really put together some good shit. It's like one of those ones, it's, it's plus or minus. A lot of these careers start, from people going from rock bottom and finding a chord that sounds good and familiar and vibes with life. And then they're able to keep these hits going because they can put themselves in these good situations and understand. It's like you get yourself a nice ranch or something when you made a tour and you put out your songs, you have your environment set up. Once you start vibing, and then you start evolving because all it is, it's like a week-to-week football game type of thing. You got to prep each song. You got to know what know what direction you got to go in. You got headbanger. What you need to feel it because that's a big song. Is if you can feel it, it's good. You got these good jokes. If you can relate, or if it can, it provides that enough of edge taken off that you can just kind of like chuckle with it. That's what you have to do. Now, it's so that they would treat these guys, the Nashville demons, these record companies. I like that quote. The skinny dogs run faster than fat dog, and they're going to give you just enough. I think he's like $50 a week writing songs, So that and if you got all that good talent and stuff, you're being squandered as just a cog in a machine. Go fucking be your own machine. Sometimes you have to get your head in the door, and sometimes you got to be a cog in the machine to learn that you don't want to be a cog in the machine. It's hit or miss. So he goes back down to Nashville. He's had a hard life. His wife died of cancer. His son died of drug overdose. It's a hard. He had dealing with some adversity. He ain't no different from a lot of other people. A lot of people had some hard shit. Coming back down to. By the way, his name, full name. Yeah. Okay. So Billy Joe Shavor. That's a three-word name. Awesome, right? Yes. He shot a guy at a bar one time, and I want to say it was Amarillo. No. Papa Joe's Texas Saloon. I'm not sure where Papa Joe's Texas Saloon is at, but that's where he shot him. Basically, drinking, coming out here. He walked out of the bar, getting ready to finish his day, go home, do whatever you got to do, maybe write some more fucking bangers, be an outlaw and whatnot, and was confronted by a robber guy by the name of Billy Brian Corker. So we have the show off of Billy Joe Shavor versus Billy Brian Corker. Oh my god! And Billy Joe Shavor pulled out a .22 pistol and said, "Where do you want it?" Billy Joe Shavor don't fuck around. And Billy Brian Corker fucked around and found out. Took a .22 into the eyes. He fucking shot him a bunch of times. And they acquitted Joe Shavor. He acted in self-defense. Not that Joe Shavor really had anything to worry about. He knew it. But, that just goes to show you, it doesn't take much to slow a man down. .22 pistol will do some damage. Everybody likes to talk about, this, that, First of all, learn on handling a gun, because gun handling is going to come over more than anything. Personally, something you want to talk about, it's not exactly the strongest caliber, but a German Luger, a Luger in general, is a nice handled pistol. A nice, good, 1911 is usually pretty good. Desert Eagle, the handle, it sits there good and stuff. It's just one of those things. But he walked out, and the guy was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill you. We're just gonna, we're just gonna pop that stuff in there." Ode to Billy Joe. He had good songs, and he, did what he had to do, and he, had a hard life like some people, and he, still was able to put out stuff, and that's kind of what making music and doing all this stuff is about. It's, still being able to provide for people, even though he has a hard time. He did it for others. And that's something that you have to respect. Billy Joe Shavor, Rip the Crate. We'll have another podcast coming at you relatively soon. I'm not going to really do them week to week anymore. I'm just going to start popping them out and stuff. Well, week to week main ones. We're going to put some special ones out here. Talk about Halloween, Thanksgiving. Just have some good vibes and stuff. So, podcast for common.